I've always wanted to have a platform where I talk about politics without fear of being intimidated, without fear of being harassed. Without so the good part about social media is I can do that, and I don't have to ask for anyone's permission to talk about politics. And today we're going to talk about African politics. And today we're going to look at how politicians have managed to manipulate the poor to give them power so that the politicians themselves again will come back and abuse the poor. Yeah, that's what happens in Africa. Mostly it is the poor that suffer, and the poor start from the middle class to the lower class. Yes, we talk of people who can't even afford data, who can't even afford internet, and those are people that are manipulated by politicians. So first, let me uh, put it this way: politics and religion. I'll talk about Christianity because I'm born again Christian, and politics and religion share or they drink from the same well because the way our okay, so it's maybe the current crop of pastors we have is this has got some tendencies of the African politicians we've had and we have and we might have in the future. So where do they meet in where do they have what do they have in common? Yes, what you ask, what do they have in common? Um our current politicians or our past politicians, mostly people who are not in touch with what's happening on the ground, what's happening to the last person who can't afford a meal every day. They're not in touch with that. They might be in touch, but because they're surrounded by people who, who feed them with information and give them not so accurate information, you'll find that our leaders will always have a wrong or will never get to understand what a common person on the ground is going through. So what causes that is because number one, most of our leaders want praise. They always want to be praised for the things that they have done and for the things that they have not yet even done. Our leaders mostly want to be praised for promises. So you will see that most African leaders, all they do and all they know is to go out there, promise. We have so many promises from them, especially during election time. When it's election time, they will promise to build schools, they will promise to build roads, they will promise to do dams, and we know their promises. And what do they do the day they come to promise you? They bring you meals. Yes, most people come to the stadiums just to get a taste of a meal. I'm not talking about my country, I'm talking about Africa in general. This has been happening in Uganda, this has been happening in Zambia, this has been happening in my own country, in Zimbabwe, in Malawi, Mozambique, you name it. Then the the poor person who is being manipulated gives them power. When we give them power, they become uncontrollable. They venture into various businesses, legal and illegal businesses. They try and make sure that they have milked the whole of the country with businesses, their children, their grandchildren, their grandsons, their sons, their wives, their second wives, their midwives, their I don't know if there's anything called midwives, but they will try and make sure that whoever is around them, whoever is close to them has benefited. And when they benefit, when everyone is benefiting from the system, when everyone is benefiting from it could be me, yeah. If anyone is benefiting from me, all we will ever do is give praises. Yes, it will be all praises. So the people that we see running around giving praises are people that benefit from a system. It's the same as religion. So somebody will say, oh, come on, you said something about religion. It's the same thing with our pastors. So we have people, some people, I don't know whether it's the universe coming together to create such an environment for Africa, or it's the world over. I'm not so sure. So we have one person in church who has got this big testimony about a past. And because of this big testimony, whenever they give that testimony to a number of people, whenever they stand on the pulpit and share their testimony, they bring what we call a sense of belief. They, okay, in religious terms, it's faith. So someone who is going through the same thing, or someone who has got a lesser problem, or someone with a bigger problem, will start to believe that because this gentleman here, standing here saying he was healed of cancer, he was cured of HIV, and he's looking strong and back to life, it can also happen to me. This is what politicians also do. Politicians will feed a few. Yes, they will feed a few and give a few. That's what they do. They will feed a few, give a few, so that the rest of the people that are now at the lowest bottom, who have a sense of belief, you start to think that, oh, if I get a chance to be close to this person, if I ever get a chance, or if I align myself to this person, I will also benefit. So mostly people that trust policy are people who want to benefit from the system, number one. So the reason why you see so many people voting, so many people coming to rallies and everything is to align and to associate and to be recognized. So it's unfortunate no one in the world has got the power to recognize everyone. So they sometimes recognize their own, they recognize a few, they recognize the wise. So what does that mean? That means they've got a group, and this group now comes back with feedback. Most of the time, you will find a group of people coming to your leader, the same group that comes to your pastor, saying that the people out there are happy with what you're doing. It's the same group that comes out to our leaders in Africa and say, people are saying you are one of the greatest leaders they've ever had. People are saying you must do this, you must do this. And yet, it's not what the people are saying. Mostly, because what they don't want as well is to be pressured. Sorry, my mind runs all over. But what leaders don't want is to be pressured with work. If this group of or the group that surrounds our leaders, if the group that surrounds our leaders come back to the leader and say, people are saying, can you do the hospitals that you promised us during the election time? Can you do the bridges? Can you do the roads? You will see that they will be removed from the system of benefit. So what do? They come up with praises. Oh, people are saying you are the greatest because of the school that you did 4 years ago. People are still believing. Remember, there was no clinic in Machpanda. People are happy because there was no in Maseru. People are excited and they're happy about you. And yet it will be all lies. If you go on the ground, the poorest of the poor, the person who is suffering, the person who is failing to afford, he's saying, they've lied to us. We have no water, we have no hospitals, we have got no medication in our hospitals, we have nothing, we can't afford school fees. And you know that most of the time, leaders, when they get into power, or when they want power, they promise that your children will go to school for free. This is it. So mostly it's in Africa. Because, well, I've been in England. In England, you will see that if a prime minister, we know that they're all perfect, but whenever they do a promise or whenever they say something, there is always a follow-up to what they have promised. It might not be fulfilled completely, but there are follow-ups to what you promised during election. But in Africa, it becomes difficult to follow up on our leaders because now the more you want to follow up and say, you promised us that you're going to do this, you promised us that you're going to do that, man, you become an enemy. You are becoming an opposition, and opposition is not wanted. So I don't know why we are so gullible as Africans that we live on promises, and when we live on promises, we believe in the lie that politicians. So now they become so powerful because of the group that surrounds them. When they become so powerful, you can't ask them a question. Not even their ministers, not even, but you see that in European parliaments, in America, a prime minister can be questioned. Leaders are questioned, and in Africa, leaders cannot be questioned. You can't question a leader. And there's one sickness that is in African politics, the politics of we liberated you. So you see that, yes, because we were colonized years ago. Yes, we no doubt about it. The people who fought for us, the people who gave their lives so that we could be free. And the fact that they fought for us, and they fought for us in different parties, in different political parties, doesn't necessarily mean that we need to be slaves of the liberators. Now it seems like we've become slaves of our liberators. That's the actual term. We don't need to be slaves of our liberators. Our liberators were given the gift by God to go fight for us, and the ones that survived should not take us hostage because they liberated us. Instead, they must make sure that what they fought for is being fulfilled. But most of these so-called liberation groups or liberation movements have taken hostage of their countries, because now whenever they feel like they're going to lose power, they use force. They sometimes they become violent for no apparent reason. And it has been a sickness that has attacked Africa, and will continue to look into things that have affected us as Africans when it comes to African politics. This is the first episode of Politics Unlimited with Connie Cross.